Hello everybody and welcome back to Rebellious Menstruation. Today we are looking at Demi Moore's memoir Inside Out. This book was released in September 2019. I actually got this the day it was released on Audible, and I'm grateful I did due to the kind of false or created controversy later on in the piece. I actually listened to it over the first 2 or 3 days. But obviously it's taken me this long to then write a review on it. I've actually listened to it a second time since. FYI, this is not sponsored by Audible at all. I just have a difficulty finding some books in Australia, and if you order them from overseas, sometimes the postage and handling can actually be more than the book itself. Yes, not sponsored by Audible, it's just the device that I listen to it on. FYI, you can actually go get a free 30-day trial and a free book, and you do not need any code for that. So, on top of that, if you have already used a free 30-day trial and gotten your free book from Audible, no code from anybody will actually work because you've already received the free 30 days. So, even if you see any of those sponsored videos, you don't actually have to use any code. You can just get a free 30-day trial by going there and using your email address. Anyway, so the memoir starts with Moore alone on her 50th birthday. Her daughter's ex-husband, who she's close with, and friends have cut her off. She then tracks back to her birth, chaotic childhood, and turbulent teenage years, to her successes as an early adult, marriages, children, and stardom. And then how all of this, as well, fell apart. More details how her body is a battleground, her own battleground, from her rape as a teenager by her mother's friend. The suggestion from the man that raped her is that Demi Moore's mother essentially sold her for rent money to this gentleman, which led to kind of an alcohol and drug addiction, to very disordered exercise and eating, being that she was in a public space. Her memoir is coloured with such excesses and abandonment that her father, who raised her, was not her biological father, but that she was a result of an affair her mother had during a break. Her first husband she used as an escape from the fraught relationship with her mother, but this too was short-lived and eclipsed by her relationship to Emilio Estevez. Her first husband is actually Moore, how she got the last name Moore, and the name that she has used throughout her professional career. This relationship with Emilio Estevez was broken off prior to their wedding, but it did lead to Bruce Willis, their relationship, marriage, and 3 daughters, and what Moore herself describes as a very proud divorce, or that she's very proud of that divorce, that they maintained a relationship for their children. They chose to be present for their children in spite of their own divorce. The way Moore writes about her relationship with Ashton Kutcher, controversial from the beginning due to the 16-year age gap, that was really sexism at its purest, has caused the most public outcry, mostly from Kutcher supporters who hadn't bothered to read this memoir. Moore is very clear that all of this is her own retelling, her own trauma, and her own reaction that led to all of this, and that everyone else in her life may have a different or separate experience to hers. this breakdown of her relationship to Ashton. Part of the sexism that she obviously points out is that Bruce Willis married his current wife, who is 23 years younger than him, and she points out there was no public outcry about that at all. There was, oh look, Bruce Willis is getting married, whereas she, due to their 16-year age difference, had got a massive sexist outcry because of it. So she doesn't do this as a dig at Bruce Willis, she just does this as a dig at the sexism in the media. Her reaction to her and Ashton's relationship breaking down, and how she reacted in that relationship, is how kind of highlighted her trauma, and her reaction to this breakdown of this relationship led to her daughters cutting her off. So it wasn't the actual breakdown of the relationship with Ashton, it was her then subsequent reaction to her divorce and her behaviour after that that then led to, you know, their annoyance at her. So her childhood trauma actually led to her indifference to Bruce Willis. So she speaks about the breakdown of their relationship as kind of Bruce saying it, I feel that it wouldn't matter if I was here or not, you would just continue on. And she was like, well, yep, you're right. But of course, the breakdown in that relationship then led to her neediness with Kutcher, and of course this neediness then contributed to that relationship breaking down. More is clear that this is her story and her memory, and that everyone else will and can have their own memories of these events. With Kutcher, she stated that she wanted to be the wife she thinks he wanted, not the wife he requested or the wife that he wanted, just the one that she actually herself constructs in her own mind that he wanted. She breaks over 20 years of sobriety to be the cool girl. If you don't know what I mean, Google Gone Girl's cool girl speech. But essentially she was stating that she wanted to be the girl who could have a cocktail or at a party, or, you know, have a beer at the football. More accepts her own responsibility for her decisions. How she gave up her own power and lost the respect of both Kutcher and herself within the relationship. There is nothing negative about Kutcher in spite of the media mongrels creating a flurry. It is about more herself and what she said and did and believed. How she is both reacting to her past and trying to construct a better self for the future. This memoir is more and more alone and doesn't deserve to be hijacked by fangirls of Kutcher. It is a very interesting book because she realises her own reactions and choices and where they stem from, and how she got to be alone on her 50th birthday, and how she repaired herself. She doesn't sugarcoat her own failures, but doesn't take the responsibility of her ex-husbands or daughters either. Often the particulars when related about her daughters is not said or stated, only the specific parts that relate to the story being told. And as with Willis and Kutcher, this is a memoir and not a biography. It is meant to be a highlight reel. So she does kind of discuss the affair that Kutcher had that kind of ended her marriage, or led to the ending of her marriage. And I think you can actually look this up, but like the girl that he had the affair with then kind of came out with clothes that he had and stuff like that, so, or clothes that he was wearing that she kind of took as a souvenir. So obviously she speaks about that affair and her reactions to that affair, but she doesn't present it in a way that's just simply bashing Ashton Kutcher. It is, this is what happened and this is what I did and then this is what led to this. everyone has their own story, and this really is Demi Moore's. She highlights their story without being riotous or antagonistic, and any rumours to the contrary are just that, juvenile and malicious rumours. All in all, I actually found this a pleasant to listen to and interesting enough to complete the audiobook, well, twice. Links, of course, will be down below, including to my own book, and along with the subscribe button on the screen. Also, you will have the links to the book playlist, so there are other books that I have reviewed on here, and generally I review books in relation to menstruation and anatomy, and also books that are significant and written by female authors. So outside of that, there are 2 videos a week, and thanks for watching. Enjoy your morning, afternoon or evening, depending on, of course, where you are in the day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye everyone.